Cybersecurity and Military Cybersecurity Professionals Association. I'm Dr. Bill Butler. I happen to be a member of both. I'm also a veteran of the United States Marine Corps, and now I'm an educator, Vice President of Academic Affairs at Capital Technology University. We have an outstanding panel today they're going to share with you their personal journeys into very technical fields and very important positions within government. First, we have Florence Kasule, followed by Darren Spencer, followed by Nigel Stevens. To take it away, Florence.
Great. Thank you so much for having me join this panel, this distinguished panel. My name is Florence Casule. I am Director of Procurement with the United States Digital Service. And gosh, I got into government over 14 years ago through a program that was called the Government-Wide Acquisition Management Intern Program. I had just finished my MBA at the George Washington University in DC, and the government was recruiting people to come and join the ranks of people who buy things for the government. And it's called, we're all called contracting officers. They're only people who in the government can obligate and sign contracts for the government. So my path started there, and I really became focused on buying technology solutions. And within that program, I got to select which agency would be my home. And I chose DoD, Department of Defense, as my initial starting point, and got a lot of excellent training there through providing services and buying services for different organizations within the Pentagon for technical solutions. After that, I joined the civilian workforce within the civilian agencies, within the National Labor Relations Board, and then Health and Human Services, and then found my way here to the United States Digital Service, where I lead a team of people who have been experts within the field of acquisitions and all focused on buying technical services, and in particular, digital services to build wonderful digital tools for the American public. So for many of you, as an example, if you went online to USPS months ago to get your free COVID tests, we had a team within USDS working alongside a team within the US Postal Service to pull that together to make it as easy and streamlined as possible for people to go online to get those free COVID tests. And that interplay between the public and government, sometimes people say it's not easy, and our goal is to make it as streamlined and easy as possible in order for people to get the services they need out of their government. In terms of what I would love to see for the audience here to know about government service is we need all the talent as much as possible, from people who are product owners to engineers of different flavors, designers, people who work in the procurement space. We need as much talent as possible in order for people to join the government in order to solve really big problems. And as you see from this panel, the diversity of this panel, we need people who represent all kinds of backgrounds in order to meet the mark and meet the need of everyone who needs government services across the country. So I will stop there, Dr. Butler, unless you have more questions for me to answer.
Yes, I have a question for you.
Sure.
Obviously, you're a woman. What unique challenges or opportunities did you face being a woman in your path?
Oh goodness. So, um, I started 14 years ago as a younger woman. Then I think there were kind of the challenges that many people would imagine. I was a new mom at the time, and there were challenges in terms of how to address mothers in the workforce who were nursing, because we weren't all right. So, but fortunately, at that time when I was working for DoD, there were accommodations made for new mothers, for new parents, who needed to nurse or at that time pump for new children. And so I thankfully was working in a very accommodating and understanding environment that provided all sorts of resources for me and for my fellow colleagues. So um, besides that, I didn't find many challenges in terms of being a woman. I think there were many opportunities for me. The people who were my supervisors, male and female, were very encouraging. I had incredible female supervisors and leaders who encouraged all of us to do our best to make sure that we get trained as much as possible on the job and off the job. I often heard if all of your work is being done between 9 and 5, you're not doing enough. Get the training that you need outside of the time that you are actually sitting at your desk in order to be your best. So, and that came from phenomenal leaders that I had within DoD and within other agencies. But I encourage everyone, regardless of your gender identity, to please, find people within the government to talk to. If you don't have folks to talk to find, you have my name here to DM me via LinkedIn or other channels in order to have a conversation about what is it like to work within the government.
Thank you for those words. It's my goal definitely to see DEF CON 50% women. There's no reason why we
Awesome.
can't reach that goal for those that are watching from DEF CON right now. Thank you. We'll
Sure.
go to Darren.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Darren Spencer. I'm the Senior Digital Forensic Examiner for the FBI. Tell you a little bit about me. I have been in the federal government since I was 18. I started off as an infantryman in the Army, and I served 21 years there. Nothing to do with cyber or computers. So that's just something to you guys. This is a great second career. It doesn't always have to be the first. It can be the second or even the third. Once I retired, I became a contractor and was able to use my GI Bill to pursue my bachelor's and my master's. Went over to civil service at an Air Force base and had a wide variety of computer and cybersecurity jobs. Actually, cybersecurity wasn't even a name then, so it was just network security. So spent my time in the server farm and desktop support and Cisco routers and switches. Did a little management. I was the deputy CIO for a hospital for the military, and end up being the network engineer for Langley Air Force Base, which I've learned a ton. From there, I moved over to the FBI, and I was the forensic examiner, and that takes a minute because there's a lot of schooling and a lot of training that you have to go and get. So that's where I am now. To talk a little bit about the insights and the challenges and the opportunities, I would like to echo the young lady previously, because it's out there. You just got to get it. I mean, reach out, same way Florence said, reach out on LinkedIn, find that mentor, find that person that will sit down and tell you the ins and outs and what you need to do. One of the biggest challenges we have is actually clearances. Think about what you're doing. To the young people that are getting ready to go to college, understand how that credit card can help you, and then understand how it can hurt you. Because people, they pay attention to your financial, how you spend and how you just conduct your life off duty. That's very important. To get a clearance, you basically have to follow a set of rules. Another challenge is, we're critically short. I mean, we stay short, not only because we can't hire, but think about the number of folks that are retiring. I know for a fact I'm getting close, and I would love to see other people come in and take my place. So those are the things that I say that are some of the challenges. Training. You guys, the younger people today, you guys do not have the training issues that I think we had growing up, because there is so much free training out there that it's just. I just got an email this morning to get my Microsoft Cloud certification from Microsoft for free. They're giving it away. Go get it. Go get it. If you need to know where to find it, DM me on LinkedIn and I'll show you. But that's about it here. Anything else, Doctor?
Yeah, I want to ask you a question. You were infantryman. You know, infantrymen know how to do everything.
I was a
Improvise.
paratrooper down in the 82nd Airborne Division.
So there's no shame in that, right? Yeah,
None.
yeah. Did that inspire you? After sleeping on the ground and jumping out of good airplanes, and being wet and cold and eating sea rations, did you ever imagine you would end up in the FBI?
Nothing is hard anymore after doing that. Nothing is hard. Um, I never in a million years thought I would be in the FBI, but the opportunity came along. I jumped on it. I was lucky enough, actually, when I applied, sequestration was going on, so I ended up being in limbo for about 2.5 years, and almost gave up on it. But then it opened up, and they, hey, are you still interested? Yes, I am. Let's do it. And here I am.
Now, at this event, DEF CON, the largest quote unquote hacker event in the world, international in scope, there are some high school kids walking around here. Of course, they got their parents with them. College kids, what's your advice to them if they want to? What's a day in the life of an examiner, forensic examiner, like? And what's your advice to them as to how to apply to the FBI?
So the day in the life, there's no 2 days the same. You will get up and you will work a computer intrusion, or you will assist the agents, because as a professional staff person, my job is to support the agents. So whether I am extracting and analyzing an iPhone, an Android, or whether I am assisting on a computer intrusion, there is no same day. And also, just so folks know, it's not all Monday through Friday from 8 to 4. So we have to understand that there's some time that we put in on Saturdays. There's some time that we put in on Sundays, and there's some time that we put in after hours. Um, it is what it is. Understand it before you apply. But one of the things I'd like to tell the younger folk that are listening to this is, go to fbijobs.gov and look at the site. There's other technical jobs out there as well. We have a brand new digital forensic specialist. We have a data operations analyst, a data analyst. We have computer scientists. And these guys, not only that, but they all have their niches. So you can be a computer forensic examiner, and you can be a subject matter expert in Linux. You can be a subject matter expert in Mac. Look at the new technology and the Internet of Things devices that are coming out now. Anything that has memory, we may need to extract data. So just look at Ring cameras. I'm the audio video person for this area. So I do a lot of enhancements on video and audio. But look at everything now that holds that. Everybody has a Ring camera. Every store has a DVR. So those are the things that I would say to them. FBIjobs.gov. Look at it. Look it up.
Thanks. I got a question. One of my students would ask this question, raise their hand and say, "Hey, Mr. Spencer, do I have to carry a gun?"
So as a professional staff, I do not carry a gun. Special agents that are 1811s in the government, they carry firearms. I do not carry a firearm.
Okay, thank you.
No
Thank you.
problem.
Appreciate that. Now we'll go to Nigel.
Good morning, Dr. Butler, and thank you to the Blacks in Cyber and to the MCPA for hosting this panel. My name is Nigel Stevens. I'm the founder and principal of Phoenix Strategies, which is a multi-client government affairs firm here in Washington, D.C., focusing on bringing innovative solutions and technologies to the public sector, where the government is a client, essentially. It's interesting. I was listening to some of the other panelists, and they were talking about real hands on the ground, the boots on the ground, doing things within the agencies. My background's from the few steps prior to that, on the policy side of things, which I would strongly encourage the students to consider entering that space as subject matter experts. I started my career at a company called ComSat Corporation, which was famous for launching Early Bird, the first communications commercial communication satellite. And that was back in the days that they were drafting and passing the Telecommunications Act of 1996. Now, that masterpiece of legislation is still the document that we're working under today, even though it doesn't include the word internet, and it does not include a lot of the things that we could not have foreseen in the days of Netscape and AOL. We needed subject matter experts who knew the technology, who knew the innovation, to not only draft the legislation and implement the legislation, but also continue along the lines of implementing and managing it as it goes on for the next 20, 30 years. So as I've worked through my career, I've worked for Fortune 250 companies, helping them with their policy initiatives and how that drives and shapes industry. Now we're at a real inflection point when it comes to cybersecurity. Right now, I know Mr. Spencer talked about the Internet of Things and him being affected by sequestration. Those are all things on the congressional side that before we even get to how to implement cybersecurity policies, that these things are being decided by individuals who may not have the hands-on experience that you all have in the field. Right. So the old adage, it takes one to know one. In order to draft the legislation, in order to review the policies, we need subject matter experts who have real world knowledge on how things work, where the opportunities are, where the risks are, where the threat vector is going as it's constantly changing in cybersecurity. How do we make sure that the policies that we're implementing are effective and are able to manage all of those constantly changing environments? So that's why we need you on the policy side.
I think I shared a story with you when we talked yesterday. We talked quite a bit. Interesting person you are. I had only one of my students' internships has been on Capitol Hill, and he mentioned to me that that changed his perspective about majoring in cybersecurity and how global this issue is, and that it requires international response. Can you speak to that a little bit about more students getting that perspective in college, so they'll be able to aspire to positions they never thought about going into?
This gives you a perspective on the front end of why the policies are being drafted, why they're being created, what the risks are from the point of view from government and industry, and what the designs are, the frameworks of what then becomes the implementation model. It's one thing to be on the receiving side of the policy of the law and say, well, within these parameters, this is what I'm able to do to protect the network. Within these parameters, this is what I'm going to be doing with regards to pen testing or continuous diagnostic and mitigation, or even proactive defense within these parameters. What I am offering is an opportunity to understand and to change the parameters if necessary in order to create the best outcomes for the country and for the industry. That's the difference. And there's just different sides of the coin, but they have to work together. You cannot have ineffective policies and have an effective outcome when folks are literally working on implementing systems, right? You also look at, when you talk about a global level, there are no less than, I counted 8 committees in the House of Representatives alone that are currently moving major cybersecurity legislation as it applies to different industries. That's not only the Armed Services Committee that deals with DOD, right? We just passed an Armed Services a National Defense Authorization Bill out of the House of Representatives just a week ago, 2 weeks ago, right? That had numerous different provisions specific to cybersecurity, AI and machine learning, enhanced cybersecurity, and so forth. But you also have the Commerce Committee. You have Oversight and Government Reform, which is dealing with cybersecurity within the federal government. The Homeland Security Committee, which is dealing with CISA and critical infrastructure reporting and cybersecurity. You have all these different areas that are talking about the Internet of Things and what that means with regards to data privacy, data assurance, information assurance in the commercial sector, and how the commercial sector needs to communicate and report breaches and things like that with the government. All of those different committees are playing a role in shaping a national cyber posture and cyber response. We need more people with specific expertise and hands-on expertise helping to shape those policies and to shape those laws to make sure they're effective.
Are there any specific government agencies that that our audience should apply to or talk to about going down that career path in cyber?
Well, definitely DoD, definitely DHS, right? So now when you start that, you're looking at the defense framework and the non-defense, what I call, that deals with all of the non-defense areas on this side of the fence for protecting the .gov space, right? So defending, protecting your federal agencies. You also have the national security platform with your CIA, NSA, those entities as well. And of course, you know, FBI, like Mr. Spencer was talking about before. There are a number of different avenues. There are no limit to the avenues because it's affecting everything, right? The entire government, when we talk about zero trust posture, a lot of the language shows up in the defense authorization bill, but it applies to everything in the federal government and everything that connects to the federal government. So now you're looking at, okay, every access point is a risk factor. Well, you have commercial products, your devices, your laptops, your mobile devices, and so forth that are connecting to networks. Now that more and more federal employees are working remotely or some type of hybrid model, you have their home networks connecting to a federal network. All of those are considered risk areas that need to be addressed. You talked about the phones and the cameras on your houses and all of those things. Think about that as potential opportunities for a breach, not only in your home, but to any network that your home network is connected to, right? So when we start talking globally, the more connected we all are to all of these networks and systems, the more we need expert at all different levels. So yes, DoD, DHS, and some of the three-lettered agencies on the national security side are taking the lead. But every single department within every single agency has a CIO or someone responsible for information security and cybersecurity.
Fantastic overview. Appreciate that. I want to come back to Florence. I have a specific question for you, and it's data transformation and COVID-19. What is the relationship between advances in digital transformation in our economy, your agency, and the effects of COVID-19 on how we work?
Oh goodness, what a broad question. My goodness. So,
I knew you could take it though.
gosh, ask me the question again.
Yeah, digital transformation. We were going down at my own university. COVID-19 accelerated. You had to take things online, right? It hurt. It was painful for some, less painful for others. But I know your agency has a broad mission. How did you help the government with that when COVID-19 first sprouted up and we started going through the pains of figuring out how we're going to continue the mission?
Sure. So USDS, our model is that we work within different agencies to help those agencies with their digital transformation projects. So it's within the CDC. When the pandemic started, it was a matter of getting a team on the ground there to help with the efforts there. When it comes to, but there are so many areas and opportunities for that, as you said, the pandemic accelerated for everyone, right? Whether that was people who were all of a sudden, all of us were remote within the government immediately overnight, where, you know, a month or two ago or weeks before, people were being told, no, you can't just, like within the national security space or within the FBI, Mr. Spencer. People were saying, no, you can't work from home. And then all of a sudden, this pandemic pushed us all in that direction. But in terms of digital transformation, there also was an issue where people could not interact with their government in person, right? So they could not apply for benefits by walking into a VA hospital. They could not go to a particular place to access services in person. So that pushed agencies to have to respond in a digital way, to provide a platform for their constituents and their audience to access things online, whether it was with their a mobile device or through online forms. So our teams are made up of designers, product people, and engineers and procurement folks who come together and help shape a product within an agency to meet the need of that agency for their audience, right? So if that means that we need to help create a form to make sure that people know how to access a particular benefit or know how to move across the country from one place to another via, instead of going into an online place and sitting in front of a person, accessing that via their mobile device or their laptop, they need to be help with agencies creating those forms in a user-centric way in order for people to access those benefits in the most efficient and effective way.
That's an awesome way to serve, by the way, in your agency. I appreciate your mission and how it helps the average everyday citizen get what they need.
Sure.
Darren, I got a different question for you. If I was in your job, do I get to travel? Do I get to go overseas and do some of these wonderful things that you do, or how does that work?
Actually, the answer is yes. One of the things I do, I actually teach. So I had the awesome opportunity to go to Ghana and teach the Ghanaians, Burkina Faso, Nigeria, and in Togo, advanced cybersecurity investigations and digital forensics. So you do get a chance to travel. Yes, you do. It's great. I love it.
Very good. I can tell by the smile on your face you enjoyed that trip.
I actually did it twice.
Right.
I actually did it twice. But if I can go back to her question, I think COVID did several things for us. Because if you look at it, and this is one of the challenges the government is going to have, because let's face it, COVID has now made the hybrid the norm, right? We're going to work from home. We're going to go to work. I think the younger folks are more geared to go, hey, look, why do I have to go to work if I don't have to? I want the quality time to be at home. Some government agencies can do that. Other government agencies can't. So you have to understand what you want to do before you start applying.
Exactly right. I tell my students it's not always about the starting salary, it's about the benefits. Although they're looking at starting salary first.
Yeah.
Can I work from home? Will you pay for my master's? Those types of questions.
And
Very
as far
important.
as salary, understand that doing my job out in the civilian sector, you're going to get paid more. No doubt. We don't get paid bad, but it's more of a mission-based person that wants this. So that's another thing that the younger folks that are coming on board should understand. If you want to go make a ton, might not be the place here, but if you want to go make good and then have a great contribution back to society, come on in.
Yeah, I often tell them having NSA or FBI or digital service on your resume doesn't hurt, does it?
I don't think so.
Nigel, we're going to close out with you. Anything you wanna talk about?
Can I just piggyback on that piece about COVID being an accelerant? Because I think government was already moving in this direction, even at government snail pace. And when COVID came in, it was an accelerant towards adoption of this innovation. Um, with regards to your resume, this is, I want everyone to adopt lifelong learning. Okay. My career started in government affairs before I got to public service on Capitol Hill. Served in the House and the Senate on numerous different positions, went to private sector and was there for a number of years, and then went out on my own, right? So there are different stages in your career as you are absorbing more information, absorbing more experience, and building your skill sets. Don't turn down these opportunities. Don't look away from these opportunities. Once you get those skill sets, they will continue to grow and develop as you move through your career, as you maneuver through your career. Getting an opportunity to go and do the public service was instrumental in my ability to understand and be aware of uh, legislation, policy, how it applies not only to the government sector but also to the private sector, right? How it affects institutions, whether it be academic or corporate America, right? So make sure you get that wide variety of experience, and there's nothing that can replace that hands-on experience within the federal government or within a state government where you get to actually implement these policies. You get to design and implement the policies. So when you're out on the commercial sector making that large, the big money that Mr. Spencer was talking about, right? That then you can understand what led up to the technology implementation, what led up to this new design, what led up to the new code, what can and cannot be allowed within the parameters that you're in. So please take that opportunity and expand your knowledge by serving in these careers.
Wow, nice way to close. Any of the panelists have any parting words for the audience? This has been a great panel. And I like to echo that too, Nigel. I spent 30 years in the Marine Corps. You, the taxpayers, paid for my bachelor's, master's, and doctorate. Thank you very much. And other specialized training. So I do feel like I owe my nation, and I love giving back and working in government. You know, you have a purpose and you have a mission. Take care of our citizens, and I appreciate the work that all three of you are doing for this nation. And
I
thank
like
you
to
for
thank
serving on
you.
the panel.
I like to thank you guys too, because it's been an honor to be afforded the
Absolutely.
opportunity to do this. So thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you for your service.
Thank you all. And with that, we'll close out the